All right, everybody. This is the very first installment of
Should we say this is the inaugural episode?
This is the inaugural episode of the
little old podcast from Pasadena.
That's right, the little old podcast from Pasadena. This is shall I introduce you? This is Alyse Beal, otherwise known as the historian Alyse. You may recognize her from the podcast that we had, which was an audio podcast only on Spotify and Apple, The Little Old Murder from Pasadena. We decided to branch out a little bit into a YouTube.
And I was saying we could make like a whole brand out of this.
Yeah.
You know, like I was thinking the Little Old Book Club from Pasadena.
Oh, let's not get carried away there. But you never know.
Let me know if you're interested.
But yeah, so this is the first installment, first episode of the Little Old Podcast from Pasadena. I'm Victor Cass, retired police sergeant with over 30 years experience, all with the Pasadena, California Police Department, and now retired and doing podcasts and social media and all kinds of cool, fun stuff. We actually just got interviewed for a podcast.
Did.
Yeah,
it was fun. It was my first official interview.
I know. One of my thousands of dating back to however long. But it was a really cool podcast. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Marley Major's podcast.
Every day is a train wreck.
Yeah. She's Pasadena based as well. We're in Pasadena, California. Alyse is in my hometown.
So what are we even doing on this thing here? What is this podcast about? Maybe we should say.
Yes, I think that Alyse and I, we are loyal and devoted Pasadena history buffs. We like everything Pasadena and California history. This is our home state, our home city, and Los Angeles County is our home county. And as you all know from wherever you are in the nation or the world, lots of crazy stuff happens in California and Los Angeles County. We're always
shit goes down here.
Yeah, we're always seem to be at the tip of the spear, the forefront of all kinds of stuff, good or bad. We're one of the cities hosting the World Cup right now, right here in our SoFi. One of the greatest stadiums in the world, if not the most futuristic modern stadium in the world.
Well, LA is not Pasadena, thank God.
And
that
I know
would be. Oh no, we did have
we
here, didn't we?
No, but in World Cups past, in 1994, the World Cup last time was here. We had some games here at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. But yeah, all kinds of good stuff going on right now in the world. Crazy stuff, funny stuff, sad stuff. But yeah, Pasadena.
So I have,
California.
I don't know about you, but I wanted in on this podcast because I have a lot of rants.
Okay. Those of you who may or may not know Alyse, she has rants.
After 37 years of living here in Pasadena, I have a few things to say. And if you know me at all, I have opinions.
No.
On things.
Okay.
And now I have an outlet for my rants.
Okay, I think I know what you're going to say, and let me give a little foundation first.
Yeah.
Those of you out there who are familiar with Pasadena, look, we are the crown jewel of Los Angeles County. We are the oldest city in Los Angeles County, aside from the city of LA. They're the only city older than we are, so we're the oldest suburb and second oldest city in the county. And because we're so historic and at the cutting edge of anything modern and futuristic, we're a huge tourist attraction. People come to Pasadena from all over the nation and the world. I guess you could say tourism is our crop. And back in the 1800s, it was oranges. But now it's tourism.
I mean, it was our crop back then, too. We had all the resorts.
True, yes. But because of that, there's always development in Pasadena. There's always construction, new building. It seems like the number one thing they build here is housing. Brand new condos and apartments are all going up everywhere. You drive down Walnut Street, which I call the Walnut Canyon. You will be surrounded by these new developments. And because of all the building, there's always something going on outside. And I think this leads to Alyse's rant, if I predicted this correctly.
Are you talking about the street?
Yes.
Because I think that we should save that whole topic, because I have a lot to say on the matter. For another episode.
Okay.
Like, there's going to be a whole episode. It's going to be a takedown. I told you.
Okay. All right. So we'll save the streets one for later. So this isn't anything about the streets or coalitions or anything?
There will be some coalitions against coalitions. Let's just say.
All right. So anyway, that being said, what is your rant? I'm sorry for trying to...
No, I just don't have any particular one in... Today, like I'm
you're
saying,
setting people up.
over the years, living in Pasadena,
right.
I have rants. I have things to say about happenings in our city.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what this podcast is about. Us shooting the shit about Pasadena, current events, history,
arts and
crime,
culture.
arts and culture.
That's right. A lot of crime.
I'm sure a little sports
about.
from him.
Little sports stuff going on. Yeah. Especially once football season gets underway, and once we get later into the Dodger season. Here, I'm sure we'll have a lot to say as the Dodgers head into the playoffs. So we're hoping for that three-peat. I know all you fans out there are hoping for that. But yeah, inaugural episodes. This is actually my first time doing a video podcast.
Same.
So, I've been guests on video podcasts before. I appeared in one that was well received in Asia, actually. So.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was cool. Yeah.
Where they talked about my police back. There was I guess a lot of Chinese people, especially in China, had some questions about an incident that happened at a traffic stop here in the United States, and involving a police call involving a Chinese store owner and the daughter, and so they brought me on a podcast to talk about that, so I could answer some questions for people that might be.
What, like the lady was being robbed and then she beat the
shit
out of her attacker and then got arrested for it?
Yeah, that was all over the news, and so we talked about that, and I talked a little bit about,
And they're like, why would she get arrested? He was robbing her.
I know, and I'm like, listen, it's one thing to follow somebody and you call on this phone and, be a good witness, but you can't, tackle them and then start beating them. That's when you cross the line into the whole criminal element there, which we talked about in that podcast. But it was interesting. But yeah, lots going on. Lots going on in Pasadena.
Another episode I think we should get to is the 710 stub.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
Because they have plans.
Yeah, and yeah, so that's gonna be a good episode. Again, people might be tuning into this podcast from all over the country. We have this thing, Los Angeles County is like home to the freeway capital of the world. In fact, the first ever freeway in the United States was the Pasadena Freeway, and it linked Pasadena to downtown Los Angeles, earliest freeway.
That's why it's
ever.
So wonky and curvy.
Yeah,
because it was like literally the first and made for like Model Ts.
Yeah, and they didn't think back in those days. They thought that obviously the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and they thought that people would like fall asleep at the wheel if they had to drive a long way on the straight line. So they made it purposely curvy and windy to keep you on your toes. And I gotta say, it's still a harrowing drive today.
Also, fun fact, and I don't know if this has anything to do with the route that the freeway takes, but it was the same route used by Dobbins in his cycleway.
That's right,
He built a cycleway for people, when bicycles were the rage. I don't know, it was like the 1890s or early 1900s,
early
something
1900s,
like that.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like kind of like a fancy boardwalk that people could ride their bicycles from Pasadena to downtown LA.
Right. I'm sure.
But then the automobile age came, and that kind of.
I'm sure it was just as harrowing to ride your bike from downtown Pasadena to downtown LA as it is driving from Pasadena to downtown LA. But yeah, so where was I going with this? This is a freeway capital of the world. We have a lot of freeways here, famous freeways that you see in the media and whatnot. One of the freeways in Los Angeles County, and this goes back to the episode when we talk about the stub, is the 710 Long Beach Freeway, originally planned to link Pasadena and the environs up here with Long Beach, California. There was a little glitch about 50, 60 years ago in the planning, and they built most of it, but there's a little stub, a little section they never completed, which was to go through parts of Alhambra, South Pasadena, and Pasadena, and we will talk about that stub. And I remember actually when I was a cop, even in the early 90s, if you made the transition from the 210 west onto the 710 stub, when you made that little under the tunnel there,
Yeah.
there were still signs where it still was designated 710. Like, you still saw the 710 freeway signs.
Oh.
They had left that up for a long time, and I don't know when they took that down. I'm sure they were confusing people. But I remember even our dispatchers would broadcast calls in that area, and they'd still say the 710. You know, what's the 210 and the 710. You know, so yes, it still is technically a portion of the 710 Long Beach Freeway, but it does not go all the way through. And
It's just bothered me for years because for as long as I can remember, since I was a kid, you know, driving through Pasadena to South Pass, there's that strip, the stub, where you have the most beautiful historic homes, and they're just sitting there going to shit, and they're like,
these are the
like,
Caltrans homes that
yeah.
Caltrans took over when this whole thing was. I guess this episode is turning into the 710 stub episode.
It's the pre-710 stub episode.
Yeah.
No, because we want to talk about the plan.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole...
The
we're giving you the foundation of the story with the
Yes.
710 stub. When the stub stops at a certain point right at where the freeway ends on California Boulevard, and you got to get off, and you go down Pasadena Avenue. These are surface streets now. Mm-hmm. But as you go down Pasadena Avenue all the way down to... Fremont Street. It turns into Fremont from Columbia down there into South Pasadena. There's a stretch of homes, historic old homes in Pasadena that the state took over years ago, kicked everybody out, eminent domain, and these historic homes have been vacant ever since. I think some of them they started to kind of like resell them, and
it's really weird because there will be like, I don't know, every other home, or like a home will be lived in and then 2 in a row will not be, and then
yeah.
I don't get which ones are able to be lived in and which are not.
Yeah, but there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff behind the whole 710 story.
Yeah.
This is a 50-year long drama. It's divided the community, both not just in Pasadena and South Alhambra for decades. I was always I'm from the tunnel faction. That we should have built it, but we should have built it underground. There's probably political reasons why they didn't even like to talk about that. I mean, like, it was never even discussed like publicly, as far as I can remember. It was always a debate about a surface street construction, and that's what got everybody all upset. Mm-hmm. We've always had the technology. We've had the technology for decades.
So where would that tunnel have started, though?
Right there where it ends near California. It would just cut under that whole region there. Obviously,
you would have to get rid of all those historic homes.
No.
To do it.
You build right under it. In fact, you would have all the stuff above would stay the same. Surface streets, everything. Mm-hmm. It's just like in New York City. You know, when you're coming under the Lincoln Tunnel Hall. We've had this technology for like decades. You could have built a whole tunnel. You would have had to have like an off-ramp tunnel section that goes to the 110, the Pasadena Freeway. But you could have built the whole tunnel all the way down there to down there off of Valley, and connected the two, the freeway and built the whole 710 underground there. You had to have a couple little exits here and there.
So I can see a whole lot of Pasadenans saying, like, I don't necessarily want a whole ton of people having easier access. Like, it's kind of nice that you have to go around. It's a little secluded.
Yeah, so, okay, I see what Alyse is saying here.
I mean, like, there's a little NIMBYism in there.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. And you know what? And maybe that was always the undercurrent of the politics behind the completion of the 710 stub, is that people, the beautiful people of Pasadena didn't want easier access to our city. I mean, we are, like, one of the most northeastern kind of suburbs where, we're tucked up against the San Gabriel Mountains. We're in a valley. You got to cross a couple of bridges to get here from Eagle Rock and northeast Los Angeles. It is not an easy place, and we're surrounded by really nice communities. Mm-hmm. South Pasadena, San Marino, Arcadia, Sierra Madre. So it is like an enclave. It is like a paradise enclave within Los Angeles County, and look, I'll be real. There's a lot of parts of LA County that are not nice. And so, yeah, I could probably see that maybe one of the undercurrents politically back in the day was people just didn't want, those people from, southern parts of the county with easier access to Pasadena. It's created a traffic problem for sure. It's all for decades we've had congestion. But I think we have congestion anyway just because everybody wants to move to Pasadena. Everybody wants, when we had the housing crisis in 2008, and if you recall, it affected everyone in the whole nation, and if not other parts of the world, but it didn't affect Pasadena home prices at all. Pasadena home prices were not affected in the 2008 housing crash. People still wanted to move here so much they were willing to pay prices. It affected other aspects of the economy, of course, homelessness and whatnot. But
I was just focused on going to college at the time. I don't know much of anything else.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. So we'll talk about. They have a new plan for those of you familiar with the area, just south and kind of west of Old Town Pasadena. They have a plan there that they're kind of putting through and going through commissions and stuff to develop that area where the stub is, and so that's definitely got some Pasadenans riled up, purists and preservationists. I know Alyse has her own thoughts about that, and we'll talk about that later in one of our other episodes, along with her coalitions. Yeah. So, we just currently, Alyse and I, we've got a couple of projects in the works related to our audio podcast that we did, The Little Old Murder from Pasadena. For you guys that aren't familiar with that podcast, we had 3 seasons, 20 episodes each, and this was a podcast that dealt with historic true crime murder cases throughout Pasadena history from the late 1800s to the current day. Alyse, who's nom de plume on the podcast, was the historian. Alyse actually is a historian. You want to talk about your background, that, and how you, what you did for the earlier episodes, especially?
I did most of the research for the episodes. For the modern ones, there wasn't too much research because, you had a lot of, like the actual police reports for some of them, if not, actually being involved in them.
And there was a lot more media coverage, on those earlier ones.
Yeah.
But Alyse did get her degrees in history, and she's a great researcher and really knew how to dive into some of that old, the archival papers from the 1800s and, finding old books and stuff. But yeah, so we're working on some projects related to that. And what else? Am I missing? Anything?
I don't know. Should we talk about what was going on at St. Luke's a couple of weeks ago?
Oh boy. Pasadena, we're it's a very unique city, Pasadena, because there definitely are, we're a large city like New York. We have a lot of diverse neighborhoods, some of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the country that would rival anything you'd see in Beverly Hills or anywhere. And we have some low income, some depressed areas, so we run the gamut of, socioeconomic levels, and very, very unique neighborhoods in Pasadena. They're all different from each other, and there's a lot of different types of preservation groups, activist groups. You couldn't, if you tried to peg the politics of Pasadena, you wouldn't necessarily, get it right every time. But there is a loud, vocal, kind of progressive groups in Pasadena that, are going to make their opinions and voices known about any little thing that happens.
I just want to talk about, in general, what the hell happened at St. Luke's? The military came and took over.
You know what? It was, a lot of people were kind of up in arms about that, but I feel like, look, as a retired police sergeant, I feel like it was easily explainable. Look, we have the World Cup at the time. We have the World Cup coming to Los Angeles County.
Yeah, that's what they said it was for.
It would be a major terror target. The global war on terrorism, believe it or not, is still actively going on in various minor campaigns around the world. Stuff in Iran and the Horn of Africa and elsewhere in Syria. And so the Los Angeles area would have been a legitimate terrorist target. And the types of buildings that maybe had come into play, if that were to happen, would have resembled places that you would have seen in and around St. Luke's Hospital. I'm sure they were doing this at other places around the county, other abandoned buildings and other structures. We just didn't hear about it. We just didn't hear about it in Pasadena. The focus was here. It wasn't a big deal to me. Look, I understand why they were doing it. World Cup is a serious thing. We want to be ready. We want to have our athletes and our fans safe, and we want to be able to interdict any kind of threats or or terrorists that try to do something crazy throughout the country. And so I was fine with it. I was good with it. You know,
so to catch you up, if you don't know what we're talking about, St. Luke's, the big medical, is like an Art Deco
it's an old hospital that was in use for decades and decades. It closed down almost 20 years ago, and it's been abandoned. They film movies there and stuff. And we, the Pasadena police, did training there lots of times, building search training and whatnot.
Not that kind of training.
And so we had federal police and military forces, U.S. military forces, doing some training. No doubt it was like terror related for the World Cup and whatnot. Again, nothing nefarious behind it.
So here's the thing, though, is like literally right across the street on all sides, the Eaton fire had burnt down homes and apartments. So it was a little jarring, to say the least, for residents living like right there. And even me, I'm further away, but I had the window open. It sounded like a war zone that night. So if you were on this side of Pasadena, you probably already know what I'm talking about.
I mean, you could go drive around that area. I mean, it's not in the actual hospital is not in a zone that's classified as a residential zone. It is surrounded by residences. There are some areas that have areas that were burned. I don't think the Eaton fire and what happened in Eaton fire has anything to do with anti-terrorism training at all.
No, I don't think so.
I think there were activists that tried to like tie it together, which I thought was just kind of a lot of like political theater, in my opinion. But we live in an age in the last couple of years, where anything the federal government does is scrutinized just because of who's in the White House, and they don't.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think that the city of Pasadena knew or like could even do anything about the fact that they were doing the training there, because St. Luke's is privately owned by some like slumlord guy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Am I going to get sued on this podcast for calling him a slumlord?
I don't know who owns St. Luke's.
He's privately owned, and so I don't think that the city really had a choice. They were just kind of informed, hey, we're doing this training here at this building.
I think a lot of people
gave them a heads up, but like they weren't even supposed to talk about it until like right before.
I think a lot of people have to realize, look, there are local municipal laws and jurisdictions, there are county jurisdictions, and there are state and there are federal. This was the federal government. They can do whatever they want. They don't got to tell us anything. They don't got to ask our permission. They gave the notifications that they had to give, when they had to give it, and for the most part, they have to do what they're going to do, and they're going to do it. So, we just have to accept it. I mean, do I want our men and women out there on our soccer teams and other people and the fans staying safe? Absolutely. Do I want our military and police personnel staying safe? Absolutely. I want everybody well-trained and doing things by the numbers, and hopefully everybody goes home safe at the end of the day. Yeah. And I was good with it.
But that's why we build training facilities. No.
Well, not every training facility is appropriate for the task at hand, and we have a large military and a lot of police forces around the world, and not every training facility is always available. So they had to do what they had to do, and especially since Pasadena is close to one of the sites of the World Cup. And also, the Olympics is coming here, too, in a couple of years. So, a lot of stuff going on. It's not going to be the last time we see the military and federal and state and local police agencies training for this sort of thing.
It's like kind of the first time that we're starting to see. Like, I've never seen something like this before.
I mean, yeah.
Like, you think of military training, you think of bases like down in Camp Pendleton. I lived down in San Clemente, and you would hear the same thing, but, like, the military base was right there, and that was why.
Again, there's always going to be new developments and new reasons for stuff. Again, nothing nefarious that I saw on it at all. Again, we have the World Cup, Olympics coming up. I didn't think it was anything wrong with it or inappropriate with it.
Well, but some people are running with it and getting very... they're seeing conspiracies in it.
As they always will.
I'm filing it under like that was really fucking weird. My spidey senses were a little tingly, but I'll just leave it at that.
You know what? Here's how I'll leave it. Those are our boys and girls doing that stuff. I'm glad that it's us doing it and getting the training, and no one else.
They're my neighbors right across the street, being kept up until 3:30 a.m. though.
Like I said, I'd rather everybody be kept safe than somebody losing a little sleep once in a while. But that's our take. Alyse and I aren't going to agree with everything. You guys will figure out.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, you guys will figure out that on this kind of the setup of this podcast, it'll be a little counterpoint once in a while. You'll be able to tell, if this is the dividing line, which sides of the spectrum she and I fall on.
Devil's advocate.
That's how you want to frame it. Yeah. Why are we having the podcast in this room? It's starting to get a little toasty in here.
Yeah, so we are in the she shed right now, and the she shed is getting a little toasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got that going on. We got other topics in the future that we're going to talk about. You know, if you like this podcast, I mean, feel free to comment on stuff. You guys can suggest things or even ask us questions.
Yes.
Of what you want to hear us discuss.
We did, like, even with our murder podcast, we took, people wrote in the Eaton Canyon Stables episode. That was a suggestion from one of our listeners. Mm-hmm. So was the Club Onyx.
Club Onyx, right? Was a suggestion from a listener. Mm-hmm.
About that. Yeah. So, yeah, we love to hear from you. If you have suggestions for, like, you know, topics or questions you want to ask, we'll address them in the next episode. You can send it to us. And
of course, we're on social media. We have TikTok accounts. We have Instagram. We tie in a lot of the podcast topics, especially to my TikTok. Mm-hmm. So you can see us, Alyse and I. They're on social media as well. You know, and you'll see us sometimes you see us in the community. We've had some fans of our podcast identify us in the community and come to us and talk to us and say, "Oh, I love your guys' podcast." You know,
or you'll just see us doing weird shit, trying to record videos in weird places around the city.
Oh, there they are over there.
What the hell are they doing? Oh, some video.
But what else? What else is going on in Pasadena? Anything?
I mean, we're gonna have a margarita really soon at La Fiesta, so I'm thinking about that.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Fireworks. 4th of July.
Yes, that's right. 4th of July is coming up.
Bust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a huge bust. They just announced. This was Pasadena PD was involved in that, I believe.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the county sheriffs were probably also working with us. Mm-hmm. But fireworks are illegal in most places here in Los Angeles County. There are some cities that you might find some exceptions, but they're definitely illegal in Pasadena. Yeah. You want to watch fireworks?
It's not cool. Animals don't like it, first of all. That's very important. Yeah. And, like, you know, people with trauma and stuff, it's not. But also, why do you want to go and blow up your hand?
Yeah.
Why do you want to kill yourself? Can we be smart and just not play with explosives?
Yeah, don't blow your fingers off. Don't burn your house down. Don't start another Eaton fire.
No, I know people who have died playing with fireworks. Please don't do it. Don't be stupid. It's not worth it. It really is.
Yeah.
Don't go out that way. You don't want to be the one that went out.
And we have plenty of really good fireworks shows throughout Los Angeles County. There's one in South Pasadena that Alyse and I have been to a couple of times. The high school, the Rose Bowl. I've been to the Rose Bowl one too many times to count.
Lacey Park. I used to go to that.
in San Marino. We have the Altadena Town and Country Club they used to have right here. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to have it post Eaton Fire. I'm not sure.
I wonder. Did they last year?
I can't remember if they had it last year. Was I even here last year? I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is going to be a big 4th of July. Huge, obviously. Yes. It's the 250th anniversary of our great nation. And there's going to be celebrations everywhere. I kind of wish I was at the big one in D.C. There's going to be a big one.
I've heard that the D.C. one is actually not that great.
Well, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, so who knows how it's going to develop. But America 250 is, I guess, the main kind of flagship company that's putting on, like, the official celebrations. And I know we have one of those here in LA County at the LA Memorial Coliseum. That's going to be one of the America 250 events. They'll have live music, fireworks, obviously.
Did you mention the Rose Bowl? Are they doing fireworks?
I'm not sure they are or not.
They usually do.
Someone told me they weren't, but I could be wrong on that. I know they're talking about doing like a drone show instead of fireworks. Last year, where were we last year at the 4th of July? Do you remember that?
We were at West Point. That was best fireworks show I have ever seen. We were at the
United States Military Academy, perched on the campus there overlooking the beautiful Hudson River and the Hudson River Valley. And it was one of the best, absolutely best fireworks shows I've ever seen. I mean, if you ever get a chance to see a fireworks show at West Point, there in New York, it's just amazing. It was really a fun time. We had 2 academies under our belt. We just got back. We were at the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis recently. Got a nice tour there. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we try to get around. We try to travel places and bring you stuff from around the country and the world. Especially like on my TikTok, I highlight a lot of the travels and things that we do. 4th of July. I remember I don't want to like age myself or date myself, but I remember the 200th anniversary of our country really well still.
Boy.
I remember the bicentennial coins we used to collect.
You did just
I
age
did
yourself.
just age myself, didn't I? Yeah. But hey, so I hear, when you're a little kid. I was a little kid, by the way, like first grade or something. You don't think that, one day it's going to be the 250th, now here it is, 50 years later, it's upon us. So yeah, that's crazy.
It is crazy. Also, She Shed's getting very hot. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah. So this is a good little first episode, right?
It was.
Yeah, so be sure to stay tuned. We'll try to do this once a week and get it up on YouTube as soon as we can. I'm going to let the old historian / editor Alyse put it together.
Somehow I'm also the tech expert, but I'm horrible with technology, so I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, so anyway, tune in next time to the the little old podcast from Pasadena.
And it will be the best, though.
It will be the best. You're right. It'll be the best little old podcast from Pasadena.
It will.
And also be sure to, on Spotify and Apple and iHeart and all major platforms, tune in to The Little Old Murder from Pasadena, especially if you're a big true crime buff. I think you'll like those a lot.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Toodaloo.